Raised by Wolves. I really enjoyed the premiere. I am excited for what we have here. I am so curious as to what this tree is supposed to be. What you doing, bro? What is happening?
Soul's light. I feel it burning inside you.
I think those are necromancer eyes.
The only human ever wanted to touch.
Okay.
And touch.
No, don't. Please don't.
To them, we're just a bunch of freeloading descendants of mass murderers.
What's she doing here?
Probably
Relax.
true.
For when Mother is not around.
Normally I would say don't give that to a bunch of kids, but
Thanks.
these kids I trust, except for Paul.
This doesn't freak me out. This is about you guys, not me.
I don't think the other colonists will see it that way, Tempest.
I'm sure whoever's responsible will be found and punished in short order.
We'll see. Who says
You'll
the
be
collective
making
isn't the one who sent them? Or what do you call the AI, the one that controls them? Because I know the collective is like all of them together, but...
You brought them a weapon.
Jesus.
Are you questioning my abilities as a caregiver? You didn't trust me before.
Well, let's be
I was
fair.
worried when you told me you were in contact with the voice that maybe you were still receiving it. I got access to the Trust planetary analysis.
Oh, yeah, and?
They don't know where it's coming from, but they do know that it can't penetrate the EMF that covers the tropical zone.
Then how is Marcus
So
still
maybe this
hearing
is
stuff?
paradise.
Wait, that confuses me. How is Marcus still hearing Saul? Or is he not?
Trust has another assignment for you today.
You could have just put that on the little ball.
Today you're a Punisher.
What? The outfit actually altogether looks pretty cool.
Just admitted you hate human beings. You're never gonna pass the baton.
Did not answer that question.
Punisher, begin.
She's conflicted. Ooh. Jesus. Okay. Very interesting that they let her, exact revenge. That doesn't seem very, I don't know, objective.
It was an android of some kind. The
Oh.
pieces date back almost 1,000,000 years. When I exposed them to the light,
I was tasked with punishing him.
I mean, yes you were, but
Non-faithful.
I'm really curious as to what he was saying about that android.
You're feeling optimistic about this place.
my caregiving protocols are being satisfied. at
So
higher
she's
levels
feeling a
than
little
ever
less optimistic after that.
before. Then we are in sync, Mother.
I don't think 100%.
It was not a perceived failure, Father. It was a very real one.
Yeah,
It's
I'd have to
past,
agree with that.
Mother. You need only forgive yourself.
Aww. What on earth are you doing?
The tide will change in a couple of days or so.
A couple of days? Wait, how did you get yourself stranded?
Just messing with
If you
you.
jumped on it, you should be able to jump off.
I feel like you can't be real.
What
Like we're in a
exactly?
sim or something.
Oh.
I'm gonna make a real life here.
Maybe.
No more imitations.
Are you
You don't have to be afraid.
implying what I think? Ew.
I can give you everything you need.
Your face, again, disagrees with what you just said.
You're bringing a dead android back to life.
No. That would likely be impossible.
I get the feeling it's not.
I've been ordered by the Trust to personally express remorse to every member of the collective.
That's fucked up, dude. Like, if that was the
I wish you
whole
all a good evening.
purpose, like if he had to go express remorse to everybody, then what was the purpose of the violence? Aside from just, like,
There's justice.
carnal satisfaction of vengeance.
Even for us.
They both know that was super fucked.
These fruit juice stains are incredibly stubborn.
Paul found it the other day.
Ooh,
I
you
don't want him
little
to end
rat.
up like that colonist.
I'm glad you did, because fuck Paul, but you a rat, Campion. Oh, please just let him keep it.
But it won't hatch without its mother. You should take it back to its nest.
I didn't even really think about that. You kind of do need to incubate it. So.
You can't find the tree without the sword.
That wouldn't be the one, would it?
It's a little small, but...
Someone's running.
Maybe we could get to them before the atheists do.
Of course it is.
Easy now. And if you want, I can free you too.
I'm already free, asshole.
He makes a good point.
Time tide's coming up.
Oh, this music is awesome. Putting an awful lot of emphasis on the acid water in this episode. Maybe just to emphasize, like, yes, that's what's keeping them safe right now, but I get the feeling it'll play an even bigger role. Damn. Oh, shit. That's awful. That's pretty awful. The tropical zone is very nice, with the major exception of the acid water. Fingers crossed that whatever this bird is not at home and or friendly. No, I feel like a jump scare coming on. Oh no. Oh shit. Is that what I think it is? Oh my god, no way. Where the fuck did you come from? Campion, what is happening right now? I got the impression that it was just a bloodthirsty evil thing. What is happening? Brother. Is that really what is happening right there? Squeeze the fuck out of me. What the hell?
Soul, you're gonna curse us. You have to give it back.
You said that real fast, dude.
It's not back yet.
He has yet to return.
He's chilling with your other child. I'm getting conflicted again. It does not seem like this thing is like evil. Although I don't exactly know what it did. I hate you, Mom. He wasn't passed out when we last saw him, so it had to have done something. That's weird. That's really weird. Like, there's some themes on this show where I'm like, ew. I didn't necessarily need that. I mean, I suppose it got the message across. She definitely still has some kind of maternal feelings towards it. Oh, fuck. I was not expecting them to throw this giant snake in to the fold like just so quickly. Is it attacking you guys? It seems like it just kind of flew by. Oh. That's fucked up. But why would it do that? It seems like it's trying to protect the family. It's like, no, I'm one of the family. I'm here to help you all.
Kill it, Mother. Do not hesitate. Promise me.
I would have been on your side about 15 minutes earlier.
Partnership.
But it doesn't seem like it's just trying to kill everything. It really doesn't. I mean, if it wanted a nice little snack, it could have easily just eaten Campion. And it didn't even eat those people. It specifically dragged them into the acid water to kill them, not to eat them. I don't know, dude. I don't know. They did a really good job on the injuries on that dude's face. It genuinely looks like just super swollen and gnarly.
And then there was a necromancer that took down the Ark.
Well, you figured that out pretty quickly.
You know, the Trust ordered us to be nice to her. That was the final straw for me.
That was what did it for you? And they didn't say be nice. They said leave her alone.
Not to mention it doesn't make mistakes.
Are you sure about that?
You know what? It was a first time for everything.
It's like, yeah, who determines whether
You're right.
something's a mistake or not?
It didn't attack me. I fell.
You fell?
It wasn't aggressive. It got separated from its mother.
You're strange when it comes to animals. I'm coming with you.
Please don't.
You're leading the bait squad. Follow me.
What fucking assholes.
Oh, sorry?
Just try to get them out in front of the animals.
The bait squad?
Here's your joystick.
That is fucked up, dude.
Pairs with your mind.
The service model with 9 lives.
Oh, wait.
It's good to know Soul has a sense of humor.
Holy shit, it's all of them? What?
Fully process number 7's death. I want you to seal them.
How did this show, in the course of like 20 minutes, make me completely flip my view on child number 7?
I'm sorry for your loss, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, that looks intense.
There's our ride.
How in the hell do you plan on taking that out?
And if you do that, the hover field is going to irradiate you.
I'll be all right.
I'll do it.
No, don't.
He's gonna help you get free of the trust.
So we have ourselves another member of the flock.
And you'll go to the light. Brave soul.
I don't know how to feel about this anymore either, because as like insane as he is, clearly the voice is real. Whatever the necromancer eyes are doing to him seems to attract other people, and he's not exactly doing like the worst things.
Maybe this beast is the sword Saul means for you to master.
I sincerely hope that's not where that's going. Don't let anything happen to her on the way over. I actually do kind of like her. So cute. Shit. Damn it. I would really prefer something not happen to this girl. She's pretty cool. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Need help getting home?
Oh.
I need to repair myself.
His parents
That's
are
a
androids.
turn in the story I didn't
So
expect.
whatever game you're playing at, it's not fair.
Ooh, is someone in love?
Campion, they're good for winning wars, but they're untrustworthy.
That would shut the
You of all
fuck
people should know
up,
that.
Paul. It's actually an interesting thing I was
you're
just thinking
wrong
about.
about
She
androids.
can't age, right?
They're
Because
as
she's an
trustworthy
android.
as humans.
So if
More
you
so
were to
if
fall in
ask
love with
me.
an android
If you want to
at
keep
that
being my
age,
friend, then you better show them some respect.
Mother, you're gonna try and kill it, but you know you can't do it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that is your child.
You're a killer of children. You deserve no sympathy.
But you just can't help it, can you?
You deserve only death.
Other androids can't do that, right? I thought she could only do that with her necromancer eyes. You're not gonna be able to do it, Mother. Still quite good. And we're taking some really interesting turns in the story I would not have expected. Well, as I said, there were a lot of twists and turns in this one that made me start to see the importance of certain characters and get much more invested in certain storylines. Campion and Paul's storyline was one where I'm like, I'm kind of curious to see, what goes on here. They do have a sort of like Cain and Abel situation going on. But then throwing in the android to kind of mix things up, that got me very interested. Because that ties them to Marcus's group back to Mother and the rest of the kids. It is one of those moments where I'm like, what are the odds that they would just so happen to run into her? But also I think it progresses that story in a very interesting way. And you could, I'm sure, rationalize it somehow. Like, she was injured, looking for someone to help her, and saw two children and figured, that's probably the lowest threat in terms of, if they try to attack me or anything. They 100% confirmed that there is a transmission going across all of the planet, but it cannot penetrate the electromagnetic fields of the actual tropical zone. Which is curious, because as I said in the first episode, it seemed like Marcus was still communicating with Saul. I mean, maybe because he has the necromancer eyes inside him, it sort of is like a super beacon for the signal and he can still hear it just because of that. I don't know. I still think those eyes are eventually going to be coming out of him and we are going to see what happens, when he no longer has that. Punisher scene was pretty weird. The outfit was fucking cool. I will definitely say that. Weird, sure, but very cool. But that is so counterintuitive, I feel like, to what the collective preaches. They're like, no violence, we don't let emotion or anything get in the way of our judgments. It's just, the correct decisions all the time. But if that were the case, then I don't see why physically assaulting him, like, so brutally would somehow further that message or help in any way. I did find it interesting, though, that Mother clearly was conflicted about doing it. Like, that made her a little hesitant on the collective. She did not expect them to want or allow her to do that. I didn't like the implication that Disma and Marcus would like have a child together, especially the way he presented it too. He's like, oh, you feel safe around me? Well, how about I give you a real kid and then you can ditch that stupid android? Like, the whole thing was just so fucking weird. And it's so shitty because I guarantee it's actually going to happen too. I kind of take that back. The show always proves me wrong. Always, always, always. Because then they just throw the snake child back into the mix like it was never absent in the first place. It just shows up out of fucking nowhere and clearly does not show harm to, at the very least, Mother and her children. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, there really isn't anything in the first, or the finale, that indicated it was truly violent. Like, it latched onto Mother and was feeding off of her, but, I mean, it was, you know, it was literally like a child nursing at that point. And it grew to hideous proportions very, very fast. But it didn't attack Mother and Father. And even when it showed up down by the beach, it didn't attack anybody. Like, they all ran into the silo and, you know, kept the rest of them out, and then it dragged them all down. It didn't attack and then do that, so I don't know. It seems like it's just trying to defend its family, which is really fucking weird. Like, how did I end up on the snake's side? How? I mean, if anything, it does make me kind of happy just because I get to enjoy my love of snakes again. I'm like, okay, cool. The baby, as we know, is not totally fucked up. And if we could have, like, a giant snake creature companion who, you know, is helping our main heroes out, and not Marcus. I really did not like the implication that he would conquer this beast and ride it like a dragon. Fuck that. Now, Campion doing that, I 100% could see it. More and more, this prophecy of this orphan boy seems to be about Campion. But yeah, at the very start of this episode, had they been like, oh, there's this snake creature, let's all go hunt it down, I would have been joining that witch hunt so fucking fast. And now I'm upset that they're all trying to kill it, and I don't want them to. I'm hoping Mother can somehow save it. The show is wild sometimes. But into the technicals. Writing of this episode. Character motivations, from what I can tell, are pretty intact. Marcus is one where I'm like, I just don't really know what you're hearing in your head, so I can't exactly figure out your end goal. But he seems, you know, ever since he got this mission from Saul, he's been on a pretty clear-cut path to convert everyone onto the same path. And Mother feeling this conflict over being maternal towards this creature, but at the same time feeling like shame and guilt over having created it in the first place. And it now has murdered children, or child at least. So I think it makes sense for her to be like, no, I need to go kill this thing, while at the same time being very hesitant towards the whole situation. And there was tons of plot progression in here. To be honest, the pacing of this season is so much faster than the first season already in the first two episodes. Like, I would say the very first episode of the first season was insane with like how much stuff happened in it. But then every episode after that, for the most part, with the exception of I think it was like the sixth one, everything takes a much more methodical pace. Here, both episodes, we have gotten some very significant jumps in the story. The biggest one here being the reintroduction of the snake creature, and already getting a lot more information as to its own like motivations and what is driving it. Like, no solid answers, obviously, but it clearly doesn't mean harm to, you know, key characters. On top of that, Marcus is now, you know, actually growing his flock of people. Campion and Paul are now teamed up with the android, and I'm sure that's gonna go swell. Father gets teamed up with the Bait Squad, who are all like pretty big characters from the first season. I was wondering what happened to them, and I'm glad they answered it and found a way to utilize these characters in this setting in a pretty interesting way. Because even though none of them are characters I like per se, the fact that they are familiar faces immediately makes me, and I'm assuming a lot of other audience members, a little hesitant on the idea of them all just getting killed. And it's also just super fucked up that they have a bait squad. And even though there were some things in this episode that felt a little easy, you know, maybe just a tidbit little too convenient, I think the writing was quite good, so I will give it a 9 out of 10. Editing in this episode. The majority of the editing was quite good. I really like the editing during the torture scene, just because, again, it utilizes that technique of really, really slow, long takes to build up the tension of the moment, and then preceded by very rapid, quick cut takes whenever she hits him, especially when it goes into like the montage of her doing it. However, you might be able to put this under like visual effects, but I personally put this on the editor. The color correcting of these scenes can be a little off for me. And it's only because they do the technique that I really don't like in film, where rather than actually film something at night and, you know, get a bunch of lights and light the area and whatnot, they film it during the daytime and then just add this blue filter over everything. Like, does it convey that it's supposed to be nighttime? Yes. But does it actually look like nighttime? No, it looks like a really, really weird blue day. So for that reason alone, I will drop it down to an 8 out of 10. Cinematography was very good. Some of the shots during the torture scene were fantastic just because it, you know, put her in that really intimidating looking outfit, center frame, or would constantly be shooting from, you know, towards ground level, so she just looked like she was towering in the room. Like, it was really, really cool. I also really liked the shots that they did when the snake met Campion. Because even though it was mostly visual effects, they still had a, you know, a frame template that the cinematographer had to do. And just the way they shot it both made the snake look very intimidating and scary, so that Campion and the audience are like, oh, fucking shit. But then very subtly and visually show that it does not mean any harm. And the fact that they were able to do that, again, visually without having to explain it to me. So I'll do a 9 out of 10. Sound design, so good, so good. There were less moments in this one that really stood out to me, but there were still some incredibly well done moments for the score. The moment when the snake first appears was very good. The music during the torture scene was super good. And the music that plays, you know, this big build-up to Mother going to confront her child, that whole segment right at the end was quite good in terms of the score as well. But as I said, it didn't wow me quite as much as last week, so I will do a 9 out of 10. Acting was superb. I feel bad giving it to the same person all the time, but I have to give it to Amanda Collin for the torture scene, because it's just this really, really close up on her eyes alone. So she has to do a lot of eye acting, which, again, that's just not as easy as it might seem. And she conveyed so perfectly to me that she's an android, she's been given a command, you know, I gotta do this. But there is some conflict. She understands that this isn't right, but not quite to the extent of where a person would be like, no, I can't do this, because she still, you know, did everything. Everyone else was also giving quite good performances. I really have to give it to the actor who playing Campion, Winta McGrath. His acting has never struck me as, you know, amazing or anything, but here in this episode, he had a couple moments where I was like, oh damn, okay. So for acting, I'll do 10 out of 10. Costumes and makeup. This one's a little tough for me. As I said during the episode, the makeup on the guy who was, you know, severely beat, that looked very good and very real. But again, I think the veins on Marcus's face just do not look real. They do not look good to me. They either look like scars or in certain lights, almost like big blisters. So I'm like, no. But also the wig that the little girl android is wearing, it's very bad. I wonder though if that's kind of the point. They're like, oh, it's an android, doesn't need to look real. But it is a little distracting because as far as I can tell, it's the only person wearing a wig. Everyone else's hair seems to be their own. Maybe not fathers, but maybe it is. I don't know. And I still don't like the yellow and green on the collective. Like, that's going to be a continuous problem for me, obviously, but green and yellow just don't go together. So 7 out of 10. Set design was very, very good. They've done a good job making the collective look distinctly gray and used and hyper-focused on technology and science. Whereas with the Mithraic, the technology and science, was definitely there, but everything was, bright white, and it was all about faith and like looking up to the, big deity figure. So they very, very effectively established like what the collective is just through set design alone. And I know there's no way that tree really exists, so they had to make it, and it looks very good. And just on a story note, I think it's very telling and foreshadowing that the snake has now met Campion in a tree, and obviously this, the 5 branches, the tree of life or whatever the fuck it is a very major part of this season. So I do not think it's a coincidence that the two of them met while he was at the top of a tree. So set design, I'm gonna do a 10 out of 10. And finally, visual effects. Personally, I think the visual effects in this episode were considerably better than the first one. I only say that because there were only a few moments in the first episode where I thought the effects were kind of eh. But in this episode, there were several moments where I was like, damn, that looks as good or better than, movies I watch. The snake being an obvious one, like that close-up of its eye coming up towards Campion, that looked really good. The subtle little like retinal lights that are over Mother's face when she's torturing the guy seems like a simple effect, but I'll bet that took quite a lot of work and it looked really cool. And even the guys like dissolving in the acid when they get caught in the cave. I was a little worried that was going to be the moment where I'm like, this is going to look fake, but it looked pretty good. It looked pretty... I wouldn't say realistic because I don't exactly know what a person burning in acid looks like, but it got me to believe, so that's the point. So for visual effects, I'm going to do a 10 out of 10. 9 plus 8 plus 9. And that gives this episode a 9 out of 10. And I didn't dislike it, but I also didn't like it enough to bump it up any more than that, so I'm going to stick with 9 out of 10. It was a very good episode. A little better than the premiere. I definitely am getting much more interested in where the characters and their storylines are going. Mostly because maybe for the first time ever on this show, that's an exaggeration, but I actually kind of see the trajectory of the stories a little bit. Not 100%, there's still plenty I have no idea as to how they're going to go about things, or even what they're going to do with certain characters, but they've definitely given me enough to get fully invested in this new season. I think that some of those things probably should have been in the first episode, the snake being the big one. I'm like, if you're going to just throw the snake in, like out of nowhere in the middle of the second episode, you might as well have just had that scene in the first episode, in my opinion. But yeah, it was quite good, and I'm very excited that tonight at midnight is the next episode, so again, I do not have to wait long. So I will see you all on that next episode, and that's about it.